In 1726, Susanna Epps married William Gates, whom she had probably known her entire life. The Epps family was one of the oldest, wealthiest, and most influential families in Virginia. While the Gates family was probably not quite as wealthy, by the mid-1700s they were substantial landowners and probably earned their living by operating mills. So, who is William Gates? The Gates family history is not nearly as well documented as the Epps family history. There is a common perception that William's ancestor was Sir Thomas Gates, Lieutenant Governor of Virginia 1610, and the first name to appear on the first charter of the Virginia Company of London. While it is highly likely that Sir Thomas was a relative, he is definitely not our grandfather. Evidence suggests that our grandfather was a more humble man, neither gentry nor indentured, but rather part of a new middle class that was growing in a very class-conscious world. His name was also Thomas Gates, and he did have brushes with history, but he was not Sir Thomas. In 1610, nearly 10 years before Francis Epps arrived in Virginia, our Thomas Gates, having purchased a ticket for passage on the Swan, a ship owned by Sir Thomas Gates, arrived in Virginia. Also aboard the Swan were the likes of John Rolfe, who would jumpstart a new cash crop by bringing a refined tobacco to the New World, and also Mary Pocahontas, and Richard Pace, who would build a plantation in 1620 just south of the James River called Pace's Pains. In 1618, the Virginia Company, as an incentive to grow the colony, offered a head-right program to any who had paid their own passage and were committed to stay at least 3 years. Thomas had met the terms of the head-right program and was granted 100 acres, and in 1620 had taken a wife, Elizabeth, who had come over on a bride ship for the purpose of marrying. It seems that women needed a pretty compelling reason to take on the New World adventure. In 1621, Elizabeth gave birth to a baby boy they named John, and in 1622, the little family was living at Pace's Pains when their world exploded. Richard Pace had a native servant named Chonko who was keeping a big secret. Chonko's secret was that his tribe was planning a surprise attack on the settlers. It would have been a quick slaughter had Chonko not been fond enough of the Pace family to warn them. Because of Chonko's warning, Richard was able to warn authorities, and the settlement was able to arm themselves and fight back. By the end of 3 weeks, 389 men, women, and children had lost their lives. One of the 389 was John Rolfe.